Okay, guys, trader worth the risk here with the Crypto Collective, and I just wanted to give a morning update for you guys. What's happening with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few altcoins at the moment. So right now it's just after 5 in the morning in Australia. Um, it's Monday morning, so for those watching around the world, it's probably going to be a different day for you guys. But I'm going to go over. It's not going to be a small time frame kind of view. I'm going over like my perspective for the next couple of weeks on Bitcoin and altcoins, what I'm watching out for. So currently on BTC, we can see it's actually been a pretty interesting couple of weeks. So first of all, we ran all the way up to like nearly 65,000. We had a really strong rejection, and then we dropped around. Yeah, we dropped almost $20,000 before bottoming. And one really important thing to note, this is a monthly chart. So you can see where we kind of bottomed in this current up move was right near the monthly support, which is around 45,000. So just as a general observation, as long as for now in the short term, as long as Bitcoin stays above this 45,000 area, I'm not too worried. Even though the price action itself doesn't look the greatest on the monthly chart, you can see up here it looks like we've got quite a strong rejection. But this is the start of a new monthly candle here. So we still have 29 days. Anything can happen. It can still go up. The market doesn't follow any preconceived rules. It can, it's alive. It can do whatever it wants. We still don't know what's going to happen. Although it doesn't look too great with a monthly close like this, we also have to be logical. And, Bitcoin has been going literally straight upwards for ages. So we can't do that forever. Eventually we're bound to have, a bit of a retracement, or we're going to start to move sideways before we see the next major kind of movement. So we bounced from 47,000, and the monthly support area is around 45,000. I've got on my chart all the different areas marked out. The orange areas are for the 1 month, and the blue areas for the 1 week. So you can see on the weekly, we actually bounced right off that weekly kind of support area here. And what we've done is, it looks like to me we've formed a trading range, and a trading range is when the price just moves between a horizontal kind of area until you see a breakout, which gives you a probability of the price going in that direction. So if you've seen my Bitcoin idea I posted the other day on TradingView, I posted this is my general plan for Bitcoin currently. So I was expecting the price. I posted this at 54,000. I was expecting the price to head up to around 59 or 60K, and then I was thinking a rejection is possible, and that's going to form like an ugly version of the head and shoulders pattern. So I'll just bring this up. This is the head and shoulders pattern here. So you can see the price makes three peaks. The middle peak is the largest, and the left and the right are of a similar height. And that can give us a potential sign that a downwards movement is coming. So my plan is, as you can see here, I'm expecting a kind of head and shoulders pattern because this area has become quite a strong resistance. So I think it's logical that the sellers and the shorters, the bears, will be actually waiting up here to take a short, to protect their short positions, and potentially drop the price down lower. Because one important thing to note, we saw that, we've had Elon Musk buy Bitcoin, we've had MicroStrategy buy Bitcoin. Now, both these companies, even though we had a massive nearly $20,000 downwards movement, they actually didn't sell much of their Bitcoin. So to me, that's a really strong sign. It's actually given me quite a lot of confidence in BTC, even though I think we could come down a bit over the next few weeks. I might be wrong. We could just ignore the head and shoulders. If we get back above, if we confirm off 62,000 and bounce, then there's no possibility of head and shoulders anymore. But if we do reject here, or we reject up here and form the potential head and shoulders. I'm not going to really panic because if Elon Musk and MicroStrategy, who is owned by Michael Saylor, if they aren't selling, then I think there's no reason for us to panic because they're the true believers in Bitcoin. And if they're not selling, it's probably, if we do dump, then it's probably highly likely that there's going to be other institutional buyers that want to buy in, and they're going to use this to potentially push the price down back to these support areas down here for another buy-in. So in this idea here, if you can follow me on TradingView after the video if you want to go over. I've got a plan here for Bitcoin, and I've also got a plan here for Ethereum. So my trading and investing plan for Ethereum and Bitcoin. I'm not going to go over every single detail. It's a pretty massive write-up. You can go over it yourself there. I'm just going to go over a really brief overview because that's about a week old, the post, and we're getting towards the kind of climax of this potential head and shoulders. So just I want to outlay the different possibilities. Now, this was back in August 2020, coming into September, we actually had something quite similar. So you can see we had a head and shoulders here, and it looks really small, but you have to go and think like back. If we were looking back here, if we can use a replay tool. If we were looking back here, now it looks a bit different. So let's go to the replay tool. So over here, we kind of created a rejection zone. And, underneath here, we had a kind of support area. As you can see, we started to kind of bounce from this area multiple times. But naturally, when you see a strong rejection from here, once the price comes back up to it, a lot of the time there's sellers waiting and they're trying to enter a short position to anticipate the formation of a pattern like this. So back in 2020, we actually seen that happen. We've seen a rejection here and we lost this bottom area. And on the 1-day chart, that was actually the formation of this head and shoulders pattern. So as you can see, you've got the left shoulder and the right shoulder, which are similar height, and the middle shoulder, which is larger. And when the price loses that area, it has a downwards breakout, just like in this image. These images are from the private Discord. I will go over some information about that later in the video for those interested. So this head and shoulders played out. I remember this very well. At this moment, a lot of people were panicking and they were saying Bitcoin was actually going to drop to $3,000 to $6,000. But this was where we started getting a lot of attention on Bitcoin, and a lot of the largest sort of companies started buying. So the head and shoulders actually became the bottom. And eventually at this point, we got back inside that head and shoulders area, which is here. And this is what I call head and shoulders failure. And when you see that happen, it means a lot of people who actually sold over here and here to anticipate the head and shoulders. You see those same people being forced to buy back in because they don't want to miss out on the upside of the failed pattern. Also, they're in short positions, they can get liquidated. And don't forget, when a short position gets liquidated, they buy back the asset. When they close a short position, they also buy back the asset. So if you want to close a short on Bitcoin, you have to buy Bitcoin to close that short. So it becomes like a stack of dominoes. And as more and more shorts have to exit, you see the price absolutely skyrocket. And this starts from this bearish pattern because there's just so many people that want to short the market, and all those people trying to sell is the biggest transfer of wealth because the big buyers finally have an avenue to buy their huge purchases through the exchange, because even the exchange itself is going to be providing heaps of sell orders compared to normal. So that was in September 2020 to August to September 2020. That was the Head and Shoulders failure, and that started this bull run. I'll show you guys a chart of that in a second. So let's go back up here, and now we can see Bitcoin. So it's actually really quite a similar situation. We've got the horizontal area up here. You know, we can draw, it's drawn a little bit more complex, obviously, but you can get the gist that there's the two kind of areas. So if we fail to get above here, then we could actually see some downside. I'm looking to protect my position. If we have a rejection up here, I'm definitely looking to move some Bitcoin to US dollars, or potentially open a short position. Not yet. I don't see anything solid yet. I wouldn't short this just yet. It still looks like we're uptrending kind of, and we don't know yet. We could potentially just keep pushing higher. So I'm just waiting and seeing what happens. If we do paint the Head and Shoulders, I'm going to protect my capital a bit, and then we're going to wait. If the price gets back down to this area at 49 to 48,000 or so down here, then we're going to wait again and see what happens if we get another bounce. We could fail the pattern just instantly. That can happen. Or we can lose this support area. Excuse me. Or we can lose this support area, and then the price can actually head down. And the next kind of area of interest to me is 45,000 and then 42,000. If we lose 42,000, it's going to be really messy. We could potentially see a drop down to 28 to 33, but I think that's unlikely. I think we're going to find there's going to be a lot of people looking to buy around this kind of area down here if we get down there. So whatever happens, I'm looking for the price if we get down here. Once we come back up here and get a bounce off here, that's going to be my confirmation of what I showed you earlier in 2020. And that's going to be my confirmation that this potential Head and Shoulders is failing, and we're going to see an increase from there. If I'm wrong, we get no Head and Shoulders, then I'm going to be looking for entries on the smaller time frame charts, only once we kind of get above this area, because once we get higher than this, the likelihood of this becoming a Head and Shoulders gets smaller and smaller. I'm already holding some Bitcoin that I brought back in at 48, 49,000, but I'm not in any futures or leverage position right now. So let's have a look on the smaller time frames as well. So looking on the 4-hour, this blue area is drawn as a support and resistance zone from the weekly chart, and it's including a few different areas like over here as a point of reference. And you can see that the price currently has actually come down to that area, and it's looking almost like a bull flag pattern, or even a broadening descending wedge, which I've got an image for you here. So this is a broadening descending wedge. It's where the price just swings 5 times between a wedge that's descending and broadening, as you can see in the image. Eventually you see a breakout above or below, and that gives us a probability of the price heading in that direction. So as you can see, it's almost like a kind of ugly version of the pattern. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, and we need one more, and we can potentially see a breakout up here. If we see that, because we're bouncing off this weekly area, I think it's a pretty strong sign. If that happens, Bitcoin will probably push back up to this orange level at 59K, or even as high as 60 to 61, 62,000. If that happens, I'm definitely not going to be getting too excited. I don't want to be buying into a strong seller's area up here and have the price instantly reject. So I'm going to hold on to my Bitcoin and just watch closely what happens. And I never panic and sell everything at once. I usually just scale out of a position slowly. So if I'm wrong, I don't miss out on any opportunity. So that was on the hourly time frame, the potential descending broadening wedge. We also had this inverse head and shoulders that a lot of people are talking about. So you can see that we've got that pattern there, the inverse head and shoulders, and we're right on the neckline of that pattern as well with this descending broadening wedge or bull flag, whatever you want to call it. So if we do bounce here, we need a little bit of a push, maybe to 57K or so, and that will be a positive sign for this pattern here to actually continue breaking out. And then we have the obvious rejection area is at 62,000 or so. Now, if that happens, if we do have the breakout, we have to be careful because altcoins can potentially take a hit. One way you can keep an eye on this, I use a combination of two things. I use the Bitcoin dominance and I use the total 2. So the Bitcoin dominance, this shows us how much percentage of the market Bitcoin actually owns right now. I'll just clean up the chart a bit. All right. So right now, Bitcoin dominance is at 48.87%. So let's just say 49%. So that means right now that in all of crypto, 49% roughly of all the money in crypto right now is in Bitcoin. So why is this important? Well, if the Bitcoin dominance drops, if it drops to 48, then 47, then 46, that means 1% of that money is actually going into other coins, altcoins, the rest of the market. So we can use this to give us a general picture of what's happening with the altcoin market, because since January this year, we've seen the Bitcoin dominance drop from 73% all the way to 49 now. So that means almost this altcoin market has almost taken 25 to 30% of the market share away from Bitcoin. So while this continues to decrease the Bitcoin dominance, it's a positive sign for altcoins, and it's definitely something we can pay attention to. But you got to remember, it's not like a normal chart. There's a lot of money involved in this asset, and it's more of just a guide to get a perspective of the broader picture of the market currently. So we also had this, I showed you guys the head and shoulders pattern before. We also had this head and shoulders here, and the target of that head and shoulders, I don't have it on the chart, but it's around 30, measured it out around 39, 40%, I believe. And we're still not close to that. So we could potentially head down there. I've got these yellow and red circles here on the left, and that's just showing the last important area that we bounced from back in 2017, because in 2017 we had the altcoin season, which was this, and we started that from up here and up here. So Bitcoin dominance actually started again this year from the same area, and now we've had another alt season. So now that we're at the historic bounce area, we have to be careful here. If Bitcoin dominance bounces, it can be a potential sign that something big is going to happen with Bitcoin, and it's going to take up a lot of the market share. If we lose this area, which is 48 roughly, which it seems that we're losing right now, then the likelihood is that the alt season is actually going to continue for now in the short term. And the second thing I watch, just to gauge the market and the altcoins. Okay, so this is the total 2, and the total 2. It's kind of a similar thing to the Bitcoin dominance. The total 2 is showing us the total amount of money in the crypto market right now, not the percentage, but the total amount of money without Bitcoin. So this is total too. So you can see that the market cap of altcoins has actually increased over $1 trillion. So this is a really significant and historic moment for the whole crypto market. And naturally, if it stays above 1 trillion, we can continue to expect really big increases across the altcoin markets. The warning sign for me is going to be if we lose, 1 trillion, if we go underneath it and sell off from there, then it's going to be a warning sign for altcoins in the short term anyway. And we're also moving up in this kind of structure here, like so. And as long as we hold that as well, I think it's a very positive thing. What I'm seeing is over here, we had this kind of high and we came back up to it and we went a bit sideways before we started the next wave. And if we just need to do something similar here, come back and stay above this area so we can start the next wave of money coming into altcoins. And if that happens, it's going to be a very, very good sign for the alts. Now let's look at Ethereum as well quickly. So it looks like we're going to see $3,000 Ethereum quite soon, which is really great. Now it's showing us how strong the market is. We can see that Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin has definitely bottomed recently, but it hasn't been doing as well. It's been going more sideways than Ethereum. So Ethereum is showing strength right now. It's showing us the strength. It's definitely the leader in the market. And there's a few reasons that this is happening at the moment as well. Now, I'm just going to bring this up. So this was posted on Thursday, April the 29th. And this was back at when Ethereum was $2,800. So the European Investment Bank issued the first ever digital bond on the Ethereum blockchain. So I'm not I don't know much about traditional finance. I don't really look into bonds and stuff like that. But to give it just a really brief perspective, this is really important because, a centralized and kind of government entity, the European Investment Bank, has created like a loan, a digital bond on the Ethereum blockchain. So why is that important? Because if a large company like that, almost a government kind of influence company, is going to be using Ethereum to give out loans on bonds, it could potentially give us an insight into a trend coming up with governments and institutions around the world. So the market seems to have reacted really positive to this with Ethereum. And I think 3,000 is going to be, soon we're going to be looking back at 3,000 just like it was 2,000, because it looks like the uptrend is just starting here. It's going straight upwards, but we were going straight upwards here. So we don't know how far this thing can go. If you follow my trading view, worth the risk, I'll post it in the description of the video. You can see my plan for Ethereum. And in this plan, I posted this at $2,600. My basic plan is that I'm going to dollar cost average in Ethereum. So if you don't know what that is, dollar cost averaging, every time something drops, you buy a fixed amount over a fixed period of time. So for example, you want to invest in Bitcoin, you're going to buy $500 of Bitcoin every month. At the end of the month, you're not going to worry about the price or what's happening. You're just going to buy, or you're going to buy every time it drops, and eventually you're going to end up with an average buy-in price. Now, I think Ethereum is going to continue to increase in value over the next couple of years, potentially even to the 5-digit area. So I think the only way for me to get in, instead of trying to find the exact perfect buy point, is to gradually buy more and more and more over time. Eventually, I'm going to have an average buy price. So you can read my trading plan on Ethereum. I've gone over all the reasons. It's actually a pretty large analysis. I've gone over all the reasons why I think it's going to increase in value over the next couple of years. It's got a full fundamental analysis. all the different news, all the different data, stuff like that. Have a read, and you'll probably learn quite a lot about how to analyze a coin and make your own analysis. So I'm looking to buy in at every kind of retracement we get, and eventually we'll get a average buy-in price. And the same thing with selling at every kind of important level, psychological levels like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, etc. I'm going to be looking at selling Ethereum slowly, and that's going to, help me reduce my stress, and it's going to be a much safer way to get into this kind of investment than just taking my money and buying like the whole amount right now, because we don't know what's going to happen. So that is Ethereum and Bitcoin. I just want to go over a couple altcoins quickly as well for you guys. So one altcoin I've posted analysis on recently is Chainlink. Let's clean up my chart. So this is a chart for Chainlink. This is the weekly chart. We can even look at the monthly, and let's put the log scale on because it's just a bit easier to view. All right. So Chainlink to me, it looks like a really massive and ugly version of the bull flag pattern. If you don't know the bull flag, it's really the most simple pattern. The price just goes straight up, and then it just goes sideways between this kind of channel that looks like a flag usually, and it can look really ugly like so, and that just gives us a higher probability that the price is going to do something like this. So on Chainlink, we seem to have bounced from the like 40,000 Satoshi area, the previous high here, and it looks like like an ugly version of that bull flag pattern. We have a very nice couple of strong green candles, and it looks really good to me. But there's one important thing I want to note here about Chainlink. Now you can see this horizontal diagonal trend line, sorry. I'll take the log scale off for this one. So you can see over here, there was kind of 3 or 4 occasions where Chainlink increased in value from this obvious kind of structure. Now, eventually we came out of that structure here, and we had a really massive increase. Now, right now, the price is actually coming back inside of this this white line for the first time since June 2020. It's not the first time. Sorry, it's second time. The first time was in January this year, but it didn't stay above. So now we've come back inside of it, and this is a really positive sign for Chainlink. I think if it bounces here, like so, it's going to be a matter of no time before we see a really fast and significant increase in this token. So also in my trading view, I posted an idea recently on Chainlink, 3 bullish signs. I've gone over the bull flag pattern, that white line I just described to you. And there's one more sign, and that is that it's potentially starting a new market phase. So the market moves in phases. This is an idea of mine I posted a few months ago. It's called Understanding Market Cycles and Phases. And if you visit my trading view, the Chainlink idea is the first idea there. So you can click on it, and then at the bottom, it's got a link to my idea, Understanding Market Cycles and Phases. And this is going to explain to you all markets move in phases and trends. And if you can identify these stages of the market, it's going to help you enter the market at the point of maximum financial opportunity and exit the market at the maximum point of financial risk. Most people actually enter the market at the maximum point of financial risk. They buy the top. So by understanding these concepts, you can try to analyze the charts and think, where are you in a market cycle, a phase, or a trend? So on Chainlink right now, which is the bottom chart, we had this green area on the bottom left, and that preceded this massive up move. So that's the start of a trend. The up move is called the markup, and in the markup phase, we usually have these pauses in the market, like these pullbacks, and that's a reaccumulation, which is just more people buying before the next up move. Eventually, the sellers run out. You get distribution, which leads to the markdown phase, and at the end of markdown, starts the beginning of a new market cycle, which is where it bounces and it starts another structure like this, and it makes another cycle. Just like in this image, you can see every green area was the beginning. That was accumulation. We had the uptrends, the distribution, the sell-off, and then the downtrend, and that leads to the start of another cycle, which is in green. And this just repeats over and over across time. So Chainlink right now, it's really, really interesting because you can see we had this massive wave. We came all the way to the start of it. We bounced, and now we're potentially starting to increase again and enter the markup phase right now. So this is definitely one to watch. It's got a bit of a fan base behind it, and it's going to be making waves in DeFi. So Chainlink, yeah. Now, another one I went over recently is SXP. I'll just go over this chart. Nothing has really changed here, so there's no need to overanalyze stuff. So this is another idea I posted on March 11th. Swipe SXP. I showed you guys the head and shoulders pattern before, and as you can see, there was a really obvious head and shoulders on SXP. We broke out downwards underneath the pattern. We had a very strong downwards movement, and then we came back inside of this pattern. And as I described in the image, once the price gets back inside of a head and shoulders, it's a very high likelihood of increasing in value. So that was at 6,300 sats. We're currently at 9,300, which is a very strong increase so far. I'm still holding onto my SXP. It's looking like it's getting ready to break out in the next couple of days, potentially. And my first target area is going to be 0.001. After that, it's going to be an open target. I think we could really go as high as the top of the head and shoulders here. Why is SXP doing so well? Well, there's been quite a lot of news around it recently. So the founder of SXP, his name is Joe Salito, and he just announced this recently. He burned over 17% of the total supply of SXP. So he got rid of $200 million of the token. It's gone. It's destroyed. So 17% less SXP. That means if something happens where everyone wants to buy SXP, there is going to be less going around. The less of an asset, if it's in demand, it usually leads to higher prices. So that is a very positive thing for SXP. We also had the announcement of an NFT marketplace on Binance, which is going to be powered by SXP. So this is a Swipe white paper. This gives you a basic overview. And Swipe token is the native cryptocurrency that powers the Swipe ecosystem. The Swipe ecosystem is going to be used for fees and discounts, governance and staking, transaction and payments, liquidity mining. It's also going to be used to buy and sell NFTs, and it's going to be used for ICOs and for new token listings. So this another thing coming for Swipe is going to be the SRT Swipe token reward, the Swipe reward token, sorry. And that's going to be another way holders of Swipe can actually benefit from this token. So I just want to find one more thing. All right, so back to the founder of Swipe's Twitter. All right, here we go. So just wanted to go over some of the other positive stuff that is coming out for this token. So Swipe chain and stealth products. So Swipe is also going to be branching into the privacy kind of sector. And here we go as well. You can see May the 1st, the Swipe NFT marketplace will burn SXP programmatically and fully on-chain decentralized. So this is even more clues that Swipe's supply, the supply of this token, is going to decrease over time. So this is just increasing our chances of success with a long-term investment of this token even more. So for Swipe, I'm still holding. There's nothing has changed at all. Hold on, I'm holding on to it, and I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. Now, the last two cryptos I'm going to go over are two tokens that I don't know too much about the projects themselves, but I know that they are good. They have a lot of backing. Just from my brief kind of fundamental analysis, and I think that they're going to have a lot of attention on them over the next couple of weeks and months. So the first one is FTM BTC. Now I'll just bring up an image quickly. So this is what this is referred to as a wick-off accumulation schematic. This particular image is from this is called the autonomy of a trading range, but this is an accumulation range. And now, before I explain to you guys how at the start of a trend there is an accumulation, which was the green box I showed you before the start of every up move on that market cycles chart. So this is an accumulation. Now, inside of an accumulation, we see the price swing up and down between a horizontal area, like so, until we see a breakout above or below the range, and then we see a confirmation, and the price should head in that direction. Why is this important? Well, inside of these trading ranges, a lot of traders open positions. Maybe they open short positions, maybe they open long positions. It doesn't really matter. Right now, what matters is at the end of this pattern, as you can see, towards the end, before we actually started to move straight in a direction, there was a breakout underneath this range. And that breakout quickly reversed inside and moved up. And why is that important? Well, when you see an accumulation and the price moving sideways like this, a lot of people, I see it quite a lot. They say, this is shit to trade. They say the price action is choppy. They say the market's no good, which is probably true if you're looking to take a short-term position. If you want to buy here and your stop loss is here, you're going to get taken out. If you short here and your stop loss is here, you're going to get taken out. That's the whole point of this range, because there are big buyers waiting below here, and they want people to enter positions here and here to trick them, because when the price goes underneath this area here, all their stop losses trigger, and as you can see, the price quickly moves back inside and bounces, and then bounces again off the top of this accumulation, and that begins the bullish trend. Now on FTM, we had this wick off accumulation. We had a very strong upwards movement, and now we've come up and we've formed what looks like to me to be another kind of wick off accumulation. So as long as we stay above like the 1200 to 1100 Satoshi area on FTM, I'm expecting this to increase in value. And there's two reasons for that. And the first reason is that when you see an accumulation pattern, it's a very, very strong sign, and that usually leads to a very large and powerful movement and increase in price. So that's a very good sign that we've seen two of these in a row on FTM. The second sign is that there's a company, another blockchain company, it's called CargoX. I'm not going to go over this company too much. Actually, sorry, that's the wrong. Just a second. I think I've closed my. Here we go. All right. So this is a post from Twitter from a guy called Basis Chronic, and he's put a few sources and references here about FTM, which is Phantom, and we have that they actually have a partnership with the Director of Business Development and Afghanistan Operations. So for the Afghanistan Chamber of Commerce and Investment. Now, we can't really say that Afghanistan is a country where, you know, if there's something going on with crypto in Afghanistan, you can't say it's going to have the same effect as a news release of a crypto that's in America, because the financial market of America is just so much larger and has so much influence. But this is still a really important thing to note, because FTM could actually be helping to utilize and implement the technology to build the Afghanistan Stock Exchange. Now, I'm not saying that this alone is going to help make this like top 10 crypto, but it's a positive thing. And if this works well for FTM, it could potentially give them a lot of attention and more opportunities for this to grow in the future. So if you want to look at this post, it's by a guy called Basis Chronic, and he's gone over a few different sources and references. Like there was an AMA in January January this year, and it just outlays the questions that they were asked and the answers they gave about their roadmap for this year and stuff like that. So looking at the chart, FTM looks quite strong, and looking at what it's got in the pipeline in the future, it's looking like this token has quite a lot of potential to grow. So that was FTM paired with Bitcoin. And that was the wick-off accumulation down at around 750 sats. 1600 is my first target area. I've been holding since 650, but I'm probably going to hold quite a bit of this, because I think with this news, it can continue to grow. And the last one I'm going to go over. So it was something really quite similar. Now we had this is MATIC. It's actually called Polygon with its rebrand, but I'm just going to call it MATIC. It's just easier. So we see MATIC move between one of those wick-off accumulations as well. And at the end, we've seen the breakout up here. And just like FTM, that led to a really massive, strong increase. And now we started to go sideways again on MATIC. And, you know, we don't really have a clear direction, but it has moved straight upwards. So it's probably likely here that we form like a bull flag pattern, like so. So in the bull flag pattern, the price moves straight upwards, and then it moves between this kind of parallel channel, but before we see a breakout. So we just have to be patient with MATIC and see if the price gives us another good sign. It could potentially be forming like an ugly version of one here, like so. Like it looks decent to me. I'm still holding some MATIC. I'm waiting for a clear sign, a buy-in opportunity to grab some more. I would hope that it does something like this. And then I'll be looking to buy. You can see down here, we started a few kind of strong movements from there, which is 1250 sats. So if we can bounce from there, I'm probably going to be looking to take another position on MATIC. And the reason is, one, because like I said, we have an accumulation. It's quite a strong thing. When you see something like that, it's usually not for a very small movement. It's usually for quite a large movement, because that shows a lot of big buyers, potentially institutional buyers, are getting into a position. So why am I bullish on MATIC? Well, There's another blockchain called Cargo X. Cargo X is like a kind of shipping company, tracking company. And Cargo X is going to utilize the MATIC network for blockchain transactions. So I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's actually a quite positive thing, because if you look on the Government of Egypt website, the Government of Egypt is going to be implementing blockchain technology and this Cargo X on all of its shipments. So if you go to, I'll post these links in the description of the video if you want to check them out for yourself. So the Government of Egypt is going to be using Cargo X, and Cargo X is going to be utilizing MATIC. So that means this is where I found it from on Reddit, which was shared in my Discord server. Polygon is going to be mandatory for all Egyptian imports by July the 1st. So this is a really positive thing for this crypto. It's a real world usage and real world adoption. And one last thing, if we just look up, so you can see here, MATIC is already starting to get a lot of coverage in regards to DeFi. So MATIC is branching into DeFi, and they recently made a post that they want MATIC to be accessible to the next 100 million DeFi users. I'll just find the post. Here we go. I also got NFT swaps on MATIC. So there's quite a lot of new things coming to this token. And it seems that they're doing really well in keeping up with the trends to bring users to their platform. So here we go. We've got some information here. Polygon is currently doing 1 million daily transactions and has onboarded numerous DeFi projects, including Aave, which has $2 billion in liquidity, destroying the Ethereum can't scale narrative. So this is showing us that MATIC is, it's starting to make some waves in the DeFi scene. If you don't know what MATIC is, it's actually a solution for scalability. So if you read my Ethereum plan and idea, I go over how the main thing holding back Ethereum is the scalability. Right now, if I want to send Ethereum, if I want to use Uniswap, it's going to cost me like $50 to $100 because the gas is so high. So right now, the race is on for all these different projects to figure out a solution for the high fees in Ethereum. So MATIC is a side chain, and what that does is, when there's blockchain transactions, is instead of going through Ethereum, it's going to move to the side through MATIC and then back to Ethereum, just to give a rough explanation. And by doing that, it can actually reduce the fees and reduce the amount of users on the Ethereum platform, giving a bit of relief to the whole ecosystem. So that is one of the reasons why MATIC has started to increase in value recently, not to mention the fact that it's got all of this new DeFi stuff on it as well. So we've gone over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few altcoins, and also what I think in the general market with the total 2 and the Bitcoin dominance. So that's going to be it for today, guys. One more thing before I go. I just posted last week, we are currently running a competition. So for my auto trader service and for the Discord, we have 2 competitions on, lifetime giveaway. So all you need to do is you need to invite 2 people that sign up to my auto trader service to get to go in the draw. The winner is going to be selected on the 31st of May, and you're going to win a lifetime subscription to my auto trader service and Phantom's 2 auto trader services, as well as 1 year of Cornix subscription. That's valued at over $5,000 American. So you need to invite 2 people that sign up to the auto trader service. The information is in our Discord server. And for the Discord server, we're doing another giveaway. So you have to refer 1 friend who signs up, and that gets you 1 entry. And on the 31st of May, same as the other one, we're going to pick 1 winner, and they're going to receive a lifetime subscription to our Discord server valued at $2,000 USD. For both competitions, you can do multiple entries. So for the Discord, if you get one person, any additional person is going to get you another entry. And for the auto trader, any additional 2 people after the first 2 is going to get you an additional entry. To enter, you just got to send me the person who joined, send me just some evidence like a screenshot and send me their name, and I'll look in our system when they joined. It's not for people who joined before the competition. So the competition started on the 27th of April. It's for people who joined after that day. So that's going to be it for the video for me today, guys. If you enjoyed the insights and information, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to support our channel. And we look forward to seeing you guys at $3,000 Ethereum soon. Thanks for tuning in.